Hello and welcome back to Bosko's Toy Box. I'm back with more toy collectibles, and this time I am going to show off a small little auction lot that I got for $1.99 of some vintage plastic Army Men type of figures. Most of them will be vintage, and I think some of them might be somewhat current, but let's take a look at what I got. The first one here is, or would be considered a vintage. There's no date on it, but as you can see, it is damaged. Like the gun is broken off, his hand is broken off, and even his foot looks like it's been chewed on by a dog or something. But I still like it, and so I'm going to use it for some photos, and I just like that face too. So, pretty cool. Next up, I have got an Indian, and I don't have very many of these kneeling down, shooting with a bow and arrow type of Indians that are not on a base. This is like a freestanding Indian here. Again, there is no date, not even a maker. Like I don't even think it says China on it, but still really. Pretty cool figure. Next up, we have another Indian here, and this one is on a base, and he is holding a gun, a rifle, and this one does say, I know I can probably get it to be made out on camera here. If it hits the light right, there you go, so you can see right there it says made in China. Okay. Let's just back out again. So that's going to go in my Indian collection of little figures. And here we have a cowboy, which really reminds me of Westworld in that stance like that. I have done a Westworld type of toy photo that's on my Instagram that you can see. And since I'm into Westworld right now, I plan on doing some more Westworld type of toy photos, maybe once it gets warmer here, even though it is unseasonably warm here in Las Vegas. But just to find the time to get around and actually do some toy photos outside, because I really don't like shooting indoors. Here we have another Indian with a rifle, and let's see if we can, I want to show you just a little bit of the detailing here, so let's get a hard focus there. So as you can see, pretty cool. You can see he has his necklace on, and then he's got his little what would that be, loincloth or whatever, the little some detailing in his little clothing there. And it does have a broken base, and if I get that on the right side up, you can see it says made in China. But still very cool. Okay. Next we have got, now this is definitely vintage, as you can tell, once it goes to a hard focus. There you go. So this is a, would it be, I'm assuming it might be like a Gettysburg era type of figure there. Crouching down, and he's got holes in the bottom of his feet. And then he's in the stance where he's on it. Looks like he should be on his horse, and he's got his gun, a holster right there. And I just want to see if I can do a little bit more of a close up there, so you can see his face. See, so you can make out a little, if the light hits it right, you can see some detailing in his face. So, pretty cool figure there. So that's going to go on my vintage collection, which I have a huge box of very, very old Army men and Gettysburg type of men like that. Next up, we've got some kind of hazmat Army men type of figure there. There is no maker or date on this, but it is still very cool. I think I have one other figure like this in my collection. Even though that this is white and you can't see a lot of detailing, the light kind of hits it just a little bit, so you can see the crinkles in his uniform, and then you can see the little window there for his mask where you can look out. Okay, next up. This is just a standard army man on the little phone, calling in for reinforcements. I always like this mold, this design. I like that. I like the ones that are on their phone, calling in for the reinforcements. Very cool. Next up, we've got a larger Indian here, knife in the hand, and then he's got his fist up in the air, and see the back. And these were roughly clean. I did have to swab some alcohol across them on a few of them just to clean them up a little bit, but they were actually in pretty good condition. Next up, we have got a astronaut in a pink, like a neon pink, and no maker, no date, no maker, but there you go. Okay, and I'll show you the back really quick. So you can see he has his backpack. Okay. Next up, we've got another, this is definitely a vintage figure here. And this is quite interesting because I have not seen this pose, this mold before. But as you can see, he is being shot and he's picking up his gun that's on the ground. And as you can see, he's been shot in the heart. Someone did try to paint this with red paint across where he was shot, and I had to swab it with alcohol to clean it up, which I still need to do some finishing touches to get that paint off. But still a very cool vintage figure. I do like that a lot. Next, we've got a Jed Clampett type of figure there with his rifle, and I'm gonna put this under my Cowboys and Indians type of figure case, because I have so many Cowboys and Indians, and I eventually will show you all my vintage Cowboys, Indians, my Army men, my Gettysburg men, my Outer Spacemen that I have. So this next one is it's actually stamped. I think it's stamped 2011 by Imperial, and this is a zombie. So there you go. So again, by Imperial. So very cool. And we'll put him with the little knights over there. Here we have a slightly larger fireman with his axe and his breathing mask, and then his tank on the back. Okay, very nice. Okay, so we'll put you right there. Next, we've got a... Now, this is from Hot Wheels. It says Mattel Hot Wheels 2011. And this is a race car pit stop crew guy. I didn't look to see what set that he goes to, but this is going to go in my Hot Wheel collection, because I do have a few of these. So I'll have to figure out what play set that it goes to. Okay. And I'm not sure if he's supposed to, if something is broken off, or he's supposed to be holding something. Because maybe it looks like he's filling up a gas tank, with like he's supposed to have the hose, or he's supposed to have some kind of tool in his hand, but that's going to go in my Hot Wheel collection. Now, this next figure was not pictured in the auction, and it was thrown in. And it is a plastic kangaroo. And this is definitely vintage, because I looked it up right before I did this video. And I've already forgotten the makers of this, but still very, very cool to have this as a freebie. Okay. Speaking of freebies, this was also thrown in. This was not pictured in the auction. And so this is going to go to Dismania. I cleaned it up. It was actually the dirtiest of the bunch. And this is going to go in Dismania's trade box. And you got so many trade boxes that I've got to send you this month here, because I found so many goodies for you. Okay, so we're going to set that aside for Diz. Next up, we have got a, this is definitely vintage. This is a football player. And there is no maker, no date, but it is definitely vintage. Actually, there is something on the end of this I just saw, and it says PAPC, which I guess I'll have to look up after this video because I just noticed this. Let's do a hard zoom. There you go, PAPC, and it says copyright right there, and there's nothing else. So I will look that up. Okay. All right, next up we have got a, now these are called ring hands, and I've got a lot, and this is definitely vintage. I've got a lot of the ring hand figures, and as you can tell why they're called ring hands is because they have these open hands where you stick weapons in. And he has these pegs that, if you can see that, if I can angle it right, these pegs on the side of his feet so he can go on a horse. So, definite vintage, and so he'll go in my ring hand collection. Next up, we have got a paratrooper. Now, I'm not sure if this is like a true, like a true vintage paratrooper, because I do actually have the parachute. So if you can, I'm not sure how far I can zoom out, and it is kind of, it's going to be hard to see since it's like see-through, but there is a design on it, as you can see. Yeah, I won't be able to show this that much, but you can get the idea that there's a paratrooper on that. So it does come with the original parachute, and it just needs to be restrung. And they did actually include one more paratrooper, and this one actually did have the strings intact. And so I will show you this guy up close first. And I won't be able to open up the parachute that well. This one is actually going to be a lot harder to see because it's the same kind of print, but it's in yellow, and it's going to be extremely hard to see. So, and I didn't look at the parachute close enough to see if there, oh actually, right, see now I'm just finding out this stuff. It's going to be hard to see, but right there it says made in China. I don't see any other kind of date. So, but I've been trying to look these up, and I really can't pinpoint like the type of year on it. So we'll just say it's somewhat vintage, I guess. And then the last one in this collection, which was my favorite, is this outer space guy with a rifle in his hand. And I'll show you the back. And he's got his helmet with the antenna. Antenna's not broken off, which is good. And there's no maker, no date. I'm not sure if this is a Tim Mee little spaceman figure. I guess I'll just have to look that up later. But very cool. So that is everything that I got in that $1.99 auction. In the description below is all my friends in the Collectors Talk Training Circle. Be sure to check out their videos and all their vintage toy finds. And stuff that I have upcoming. Next week I'll be putting up all my shelves so I can expand my toy room out further. Might be showing some videos of that. And I'm also going toy shopping here next week to find some more toys and vintage stuff. And I'm also going to, on the 20th, which is a Friday, going to Broadacres, which is a flea market. And I'm going to bring a couple $100 and doing some massive vintage toy shopping there. So I'm going to have a lot to show off, and I still have much to show off that I'm way behind on. So just keep an eye out, and just keep watching those videos, and keep on collecting, keep on playing, because that's what's important in life, is just to have fun. And until next time, this is bosko signing off.